The record from 2007.
Good morning, everybody on YouTube. Dominic Cortez with you with another edition of Hammer Time coming your way. Be sure to like and share us on YouTube. Ed Rath is with us, Managing Director of Alto Energy Consultants, and of course, you know him as our former New York State Senator and Erie County Legislator. Good morning, everyone. And we'll be speaking with Ed about, of course, energy choice and the lack thereof, and anything else that might come up in our discussion today. Thanks for being part of our YouTube live audience. We're about to begin.
Davis Restoration Newsroom is the news feed that never stops. Stay in the know and follow our updated X feed for the latest by following at WBEN.
Here we go. Well, good morning, Buffalo. Yes, it's Dominic Cortez. And of course, Hammer Time Radio starts right here, right now.
Leaking roof? Need new windows? Looking to remodel your kitchen or bath? You've come to the right place and the right time. Broadcasting on News Radio 930 WBEN since 1989, this is Hammer Time Radio. Brought to you by Lakeshore Bank, putting people first since 1891. Now, your host, your man for home improvements, Dominic Cortez.
Good morning, homeowners, and welcome once again to Hammer Time Radio here on WBEN. It's Dominic Cortez in the air chair, taking you till noon. And a special guest today, Ed Rath. You might know Ed, of course. He was a former New York State Senator, former Erie County Legislator. His name is certainly familiar to all of us. The county building downtown, named after his dad. And, of course, his mother was a state senator as well. Eduardo, thanks for joining us.
Well, good morning, Dominic. I'm happy to be here and look forward to our conversation about the implications of energy for all New York State consumers.
Well said. Of course, Ed, in his role in the state and the county, always kept his main gig alive, and that is energy consulting, and his company Alto Energy Consulting. He's the managing director. You've got to be right on the front edge of this unbelievably hostile debate.
You know, it is a hostile situation for all consumers and ratepayers for energy, natural gas and electric in New York State. And what we have seen is Albany and our state government working against the best interests of the consumers. And the reason why I say that is because they have forced a policy called the Climate Act through 6 years ago, forcing, if you will, the forced electrification of consumers. No more natural gas for any new construction come 2026 and buildings that are smaller than 7 stories. They've also had a major push towards renewable energy. And that renewable energy push has implemented solar and wind-powered generation. And at the end of the day, it has forced the reduction of reliability of our power grid. And I use an analogy to say this, that we have a massively expanding amount of demand for electricity. That is similar to a basketball. And right now, what we have is a garden hose of a delivery system or a delivery network. Therefore, you have a much larger demand than you have the capacity to deliver. And that's forcing up costs and eliminating reliability in our system.
On that point, when you talk to anybody who's in the know, there's several startling things about this discussion we're going to have today with you, Ed, but this is one of the most startling to me. When you sit down with anybody who's in the know about what you just said, they will say what you just said. And I'm talking about people from the utility companies, including the National Grid, New York State Electric and Gas, and National Fuel. They all agree 100%. That we are not ready for this.
100%.
But yet it's going to happen January 1.
And January 1 is the start of the real implications of this failed policy out of Albany and this failed policy out of the governor and the majority conferences in the Senate and the Assembly. You're exactly right. Donna DeCarolis from National Fuel has been a tremendous advocate.
Yeah, she's been on the show.
And she knows exactly what's at stake. So does Dennis Elsenbeck, former regional director of National Grid.
And to her credit, she sat on the Climate Council and was the only advocate of what was reasonable.
You're exactly right. The Climate Action Council, which was the organization that was designed to implement New York's Climate Act. There were 22 members, and in every vote, it was 19-3 Donna DeCarolis, Dennis Elsenbeck, and another guy by the name of Gavin Donahue,
Mhm.
who represents the power producers.
Mhm.
They all said this is nonsensical, it's unaffordable, it is unreliable, and this is going to bring a major threat to public safety and reliability to the
Yes.
residents and the ratepayers all across New York State. They were spot on accurate. And I give them credit as well this year in that they penned a letter to Rory
Yes.
Christian, he's the head of the Public Service Commission, saying that we have the opportunity to modify or suspend all of the goals of the Climate Act. This is what we need to do to bring a practical, a realistic, and an achievable reform to New York State energy. And if we suspend this, we can make those goals realistic. And I say suspend for 20 years. That's the point that we're at right now because of some of these mandates.
That sounds reasonable. That sounds reasonable. 20 years sounds reasonable to me because I think that's going to take all of that to get to where they want to go. 70% of electricity generated by renewables by 2030.
That's only 5 years away or 4.5 years away.
Yeah.
And right now we are at 29%. So for the last 25 years, we've been investing in renewables and spending billions of dollars in inducements and incentives and tax breaks, which is a whole nother conversation, quite frankly. And what we've done is we've achieved 29%. So we're supposed to get to 70% in the next 4 years. This is why it's unrealistic, it's unaffordable, and it's non-resilient either.
Now, and part of your role as an energy consultant, you work with larger corporations on maximizing their energy consumption and saving them on utility. So you're on the front line of knowing that electricity is not at all reasonable in terms of its price.
You're exactly right. And this is what I've been doing for over 30 years in the private sector, is helping our commercial and industrial consumers all across New York State and in 4 other states as well to manage their energy supply cost. And if you look at energy supply costs, if it's at a home budget or if it's with a business, then their budget, it's about 70% of the total bill is a supply cost.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do for our customers, all sized commercials, all sized industrial consumers, because there's so much at risk and so much uncertainty right now when it comes to energy supply costs. And New York State is putting all of this at risk. And this is a very, very important statistic. Right now, electric costs in New York State are 150% above the national average. And that's because of the failed policies and the forced electrification we're seeing out of Albany.
When you mention that and you compare that to how reasonable natural gas is,
Right on.
that must make you pull your hair out to see that we're going the direction away from a reasonably priced energy source.
Absolutely. And natural gas, let's understand this. We've been investing in natural gas for 70 years across New York State. We've been putting infrastructure in place. This is a very clean and a very reliable source of energy. And this is what's important about natural gas. It's always there for us, whereas the sun and the wind are not always there for us.
And the grid.
And the grid.
Now, we talk about the fact that natural gas used to be the favored energy source, and then it became the wicked stepchild. What made that happen?
Well, I think it was the agenda out of Albany that said that anything that was natural gas related had to be eliminated. And you know how short-sighted that is? New York State literally has an infrastructure network of natural gas that keeps our lights on because natural gas is used to generate electricity, and it also keeps our homes and our factories warm in the winter. Here's what we do with natural gas, which many people don't realize, is we store it underground in the summertime and we pull it out in the wintertime. We can't do that consistently with any other energy source. And this is, like I said, what we've done to keep our communities warm and safe and affordable. And when you see this outmigration of businesses and people from New York State, part of it, I'd say a large part of it, is because of this failed energy policy. New York State is not safe anymore, and New York State is not affordable anymore.
You talk about the policy. The governor is big on saying that she says we need more houses built in New York State. And yet this goes counter head first against the idea of being able to build more houses because of the cost of construction.
100%. And if you look at the down the road implications of this forced electrification for heat versus natural gas on a per unit basis, electricity is 5 times more expensive than natural gas.
And not as reliable.
And not as reliable. If it gets to be below 30 degrees, you know what? You're not sure that your electric heating system is going to be reliable.
That's right.
Let me give a numeric example. Let's say you want to build your dream patio home and you want to put it under construction in 2026. You're going to have to do that with all electric for heating. And if it costs you, and this is a low number, $100 to heat your home on natural gas per per month in the winter, and that's a relatively low number.
Yes.
Imagine having to pay $500 a month just to heat your home. That's not electricity. That's just to heat your home. For people on fixed income, for people that are in retirement, for people that are trying to, like I said, live in their dream home, this is going to be a cost that is going to absolutely shatter people's budgets.
I got a $700 electric bill
100%.
for the summer, and it was attributed to the smart meter. And my old meter was probably underreporting.
So if your $700 electric bill, let's say that you were in Pennsylvania or Tennessee or Florida, that $700 electric bill would probably be about $200.
Yeah, I believe it.
In comparable states.
And it's all because of the mandates the Public Service Commission has put on the grid.
It's mandates. And you know what? This is mandates without a plan. This is mandates without any due diligence or review. You know what you're supposed to do in government when you're going to bring about new programs and new initiatives? You do what's called a cost benefit analysis.
There you go.
And you assess and you pay attention to, okay, what is the cost? What is the benefit? And what are the implications? This was never conducted with New York's climate.
Very clearly. I mean, when you look at the obvious risks, and to me, they're right in front of my face. And the number one obvious risk is what happens when the power goes out, which it will do. In fact, a tree fell in my neighborhood this week, and it was an 80-degree day. And our power was out for 3 hours because a tree fell and broke the power line. Thank God I have a generator, so I wasn't inconvenienced. So what happens in the middle of winter when the power goes out in an all-electric house that has no backup generator? What are those people supposed to do?
I'll tell you what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to pray that you know what their system comes back online as quickly as possible, because right now there's no hope for any quick solution from government. Let me give you a very important point that with regards to natural gas and electric, they collaborate, they unify, they work together to keep our factories open, to keep our homes warm, to keep our power generated. Now, when we go to one single source, what we're doing is we are limiting the reliability and the affordability of our entire statewide system, and people ought to be very concerned. Hopefully, this energy board listens to the people and the experts and changes these mandates and puts a pause button that's much needed in our state.
Well, little bit too late for it to be catching any, I think, momentum, but there's still an opportunity until Monday for the public to be heard. And if you haven't heard about this yet, we'll talk about the fact that you could write in. You still have time till Monday to do that, to voice your opinion about the energy movement.
You're right. And, the energy movement has been a movement backwards. This is not a state that's living up to its motto of Excelsior, ever upward. We are going ever backwards right now in New York
Well
State.
Said. 803-0930 is the number to call in the 716. Outside Buffalo, 1-800-616-WEN. The Volkswagen Orchard Park text board open and operating, same as our call-in number, 803-0930. Participate in the program. After this show today, we're going to probably stop banging the drum, because there really isn't any other opportunity for the public to do anything after Monday. And so this is probably your last chance to voice your opinion, at least unless we have something to report to you as far as something that does happen to redirect the movement away from electrification. Of course, we'll be the first to report that to you. But really, this is the last chance for us to wave the flag.
This is the last chance. And, we have been bashing Albany over the head for years and years and years on this issue. And hopefully they will listen, because the stakes are absolutely massive. And quite honestly, this is the last chance for us to bring reasonableness and resiliency back to our grid in New York State.
All right. You heard Ed, and we'd like to have you voice your opinion today at 803-0930. Good morning from Dominic Ortiz. And before you pick up the hammer, before you pick up the drill, pick up the phone and give me a call. I'd love to talk to you. Before we talk to you, though, we're going to travel to the Jamestown branch of Lakeshore Bank and say good morning to the regional manager of the Jamestown branch, Amy Harding. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Dominic.
How are you?
Very good.
Well, that's great. There have been some changes in the local banking market. Can you talk about that?
Sure, that's right. The banking market's always changing, and we've been operating right here in Western New York since 1891. If you're looking for a bank that has had a long-standing presence and reputation in the community, why not take a look at Lakeshore Bank?
Why not? He's right. The benefits of banking locally. What are some of those benefits?
Yeah, well, first, a locally operated bank understands the unique needs of Western New Yorkers, and Lakeshore Bank has been serving the region for 134 years, and we understand the diverse needs of our customers better than anyone. Second, we have flexibility and expertise to develop quick customer-centric solutions as our lending decisions are made right here in Western New York. And third, Lakeshore Bank is committed to the economic health of this region by keeping deposits and loans right here in Western New York. The people that work at Lakeshore Bank and our friends and neighbors, and we shop in local stores to help drive the local economy.
Makes so much sense. And it sounds like this is a good time to consider switching to Lakeshore Bank. I know that from our experience at Cortez Construction, Lakeshore Bank has been there for us, offering great personalized service. Our banker, Christina Schwendler, does an amazing job for us. The bank's products and services are customized to fit our needs.
That's right. So if your bank has changed and you want to do business with a local institution that's been around since 1891, check out Lakeshore Bank. You'll be glad you did.
You absolutely will be glad you did. I can testify to that. Thank you, Amy. Give us the phone number of the Jamestown branch.
Absolutely. You can call me at 716-483-3400 or visit us online at mylsbank.com.
Since 1891. Yeah. Lakeshore Bank, putting people first.
Wondering where to shop for home improvements? Well, you've come to the right place. Our sponsors have proudly earned the Hammer Time seal of approval by operating with honesty and integrity. So remember, to buy right the first time,
That's
buy
where
from a Hammer Time
that's
partner.
It's Susan
that
Rose. If
expires
you've ever
October
dreamed of a new
6th.
kitchen, now's the time before these unheard of savings disappear.
We'll talk about
Kitchen
that
and
when we
Bath
come back,
Unlimited
for
is
sure.
making it possible with incredible discounts. For the first time ever, decor cabinets are 25% off, and every bit of that discount is passed directly to you. Imagine saving thousands on the kitchen or bath you've always wanted. But this offer ends October 6th. Stop in today at Kitchen and Bath Unlimited on Union near Walden. Or visit kitchenandbathunlimited.net.
Hammer Time listeners, it's time to gorilla your basement. Right now, get 10% off our beautiful residence basement floor, 20% off custom cabinet and storage solutions, and a whopping 30% off truss core panels to get your basement holiday ready. Why is the gorilla floor the best in West New York? We're the only ones bold
What
enough
about
to guarantee
alternatives
protection
like
against the number one
blended
cause of
hydrogen,
floor failure,
nuclear?
moisture. Every gorilla floor comes with a built-in vapor barrier at no extra cost. No shortcuts, no peeling, no failures, just gorilla strong protection. Visit GorillaGarageGear.com. This is Dominic Cortez. Fall is on its way, and winter's not far behind. Make sure your home stays comfortable all season long with a $99 health and safety checkup from TRS Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an upgrade? Well, TRS can recommend a high-efficiency range system to keep you cozy and warm with flexible financing to fit your budget. Nothing beats rain. Visit TRSHeatingandAirConditioning.com for details. TRS Heating, Air Conditioning, and electrical access. Powering tomorrow's company today.
In many ways, a system that relies on internet power. Sure. And they can't
Read the news online at WBEN.com.
1024 is Hammer Time. Good morning from Dominic Cortez. My guest in studio is Ed Rath. Ed, of course, you know him as being a former state senator and Erie County legislator. Currently, of course, his job through all that time was energy consulting, his company Alto Energy Consultants, and he's the managing director. Hey, I want to remind you, today is Hallowfest at the Clarence Town Park, and it goes from noon until 11 p.m., and we have two bands playing starting at 4 o'clock. We have the band Committed, and then we have the Dead Alliance starting at 8 p.m., so be sure just come out and see us at Hallowfest. It's an all-day event. We've got bounce houses for the kids. We've got local crafters and vendors, a lot of food trucks, including my favorite, This Little Pig is there as well. So the Hallowfest starting today at noon and going till 11 p.m. in the Clarence Town Park on Main Street in Clarence. So Ed, reliability is the essence of this issue and the lack of reliability when it comes to the grid. But yet nobody is focusing on reliability.
And this is probably the most important aspect of what's happening with the change in energy policy in New York State. Something that we do in the energy industry is we pay very close attention to what are called reliability margins. And what that is, a reliability margin is the difference between supply and demand, or the buffer between how much we are generating and how much is needed out there across New York State. Those reliability margins have shrunk by half in the last 6 years. And why has it shrunk by half? The reason is because we have decommissioned 4.3 gigawatts of fossil-based electric generation, natural gas-based electric generation. How much have we decommissioned? Enough to power 3.5 million homes across New York State for an entire year. And what have we replaced it with? We replaced it with what we call intermittent power, which is sunshine and wind-based power generation to the tune of 0.7 gigawatts. So that's only 16% of a replacement that we have done. And it has shrunk our reliability margins to the point where now, when we have heavy demand in New York State, we are importing almost 40% of our electricity, importing it from outside of New York State.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, 40% is being imported at peak demand from another grid called PJM, which is Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland. It stretches all the way across to Illinois. Here's the point of all that. All of that power generation is being created through coal. So we are actually importing a energy source to balance our grid in New York State with the exact opposite of what they're trying to accomplish by decarbonizing.
So there's a shocking fact. And also another related shocking fact is, what is it? 60% of electricity is generated by natural gas?
It's a massive number, and we cannot eliminate natural gas from the equation. What we should be doing is looking at what we call an all of the above
There you
approach to
Nobody
energy
is.
power generation. Nobody in New York State is,
No.
but guess what? Every other state is,
Mhm.
aside from California and New York and maybe Illinois. If we use the all of the above approach, we can balance our grid, we can make it affordable, and we can also make it resilient. Resiliency in the wintertime is absolutely mission critical.
Absolutely well said. 8030930 to Amherst we go. And Sam, good morning. You're on WBN with Ed Rath.
Good morning, Dominic. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning.
I want to applaud you guys for doing what you're doing. However, I think you guys are preaching to the choir.
Yeah, of course.
Including
Of course.
Including this program. Unfortunately, you're preaching to people who understand the imperative of this problem. And what I talked to you last week about, Dominic, was the all-out ad campaign and informing the people who actually have the power to motivate.
Yes, I remember your call. He made a great suggestion last week that there should be some, concerted effort to market this to the mass audience so that people will be aware of the absurdity. And unfortunately, that's not in place. There's no marketing campaign in place.
There is no marketing.
There hasn't been.
Yeah.
And the limited ad campaign on the radio is, again, it's marketing to the people who understand this. It's WBEN. You know the audience. And somehow you've got to motivate the downstate voters. The downstate voters have to understand that they're going to get cold in the winter when they don't have the power. And, for some reason, people think that Democrats don't get cold. They will freeze to death just as easily as some Republican. And they don't know.
Well, just like on Facebook, Sam, when we like and share something, that's what we would hope you would do here on WBN. You would like and share this to your friends and family that might not be a regular listener.
And let me add this, Sam, and thank you very much for your perspective. And I couldn't agree with you more. Number one, we're talking about the New York State Energy Planning Board, and that is very easily found online at Google or whatever your search engine is. The New York State Energy Planning Board, and if you look up the draft New York State Energy Plan. Again, that's a draft New York State Energy Plan. You can voice your opposition on their website and make it known how you feel about this. And to the point about downstate voters and all the rest, voters should start speaking with their voice at the ballot box.
Amen.
And they should start sharing what their discontent was. And it starts this year in these 2025 elections.
It is the bottom of the hour, and it's time for the top of the news. We're back with more with Ed Rath right after the news. We're going to get that out again.
Okay.
Local Buffalo. all day long.
Bill Manila said,
News
ask
Radio
Ed to explain how the bill was embedded in
So
the budget.
another night of unrest outside an ICE facility in Oregon as the White House cracks
You
down
already
on
said it.
illegal
I'll bring it up again
immigrants. ICE's Portland director says the facility is under constant attack with little help from local police because of political directives from city leaders. And the nightly protests have escalated beyond just chants and signs. Bottle rockets are striking ICE buildings.
Please ask the guest, where does the power go
Hamas
from the
has
phone?
agreed in part to a peace plan
Okay.
pushed by President Trump.
That's actually a
Hamas
really
officials
good
indicating a willingness to release those 48 hostages, 20 of whom are still believed to be alive, also agreeing to hand over power to other Palestinian groups.
Let's send an email to
Parent in
NYSERDA and to
Israel
my
has
New
been
York State
told by
Assemblyman
the
in
White
West
House to
Seneca
stop
on
bombing
how we
Gaza.
are totally against the energy
America's
plan.
listening
Thank
to
you,
Fox
WGN, and you,
News.
Dominic. Keep us informed on these important issues. It seems that they want
Good
to
morning. It's
take us out of the
10:31
state.
from the WBEN Paul Davis Restoration
So
Newsroom. I'm Chris Giacobello.
Who-
Here's what's
who-
happening.
Who would
Early
build a
this morning,
house?
Buffalo firefighters
That's
responded to a
hard to
two-alarm
Who
fire
would
at a
you know
one-story commercial furniture
would
store
think
located on
that
Genesee
electric
Street.
house is
The
a
fire
good idea?
caused an estimated
Nobody.
$150,000
You-
in
if you
damage
wanna
to the
have
building
someone who can
and
do things
$50,000 in
like
damage
bring
to
on
its
film,
contents.
Yeah, well,
Five
that's supposed to be
Five
today.
firefighters sustained
reluctant
non-life-threatening injuries
to
while
talk
battling the
unless
fire,
you've got
and the cause of the fire remains under
wait for some
investigation.
research.
This
that
morning
the
at around
utilities are
2:30,
doing.
East Aurora police
I don't
attempted to
know
pull
if
over a
this is going to happen
motorcycle
in
on
time.
Oakwood
I don't
Avenue,
think any of
but
it's
the
going to happen in
motorcyclist
time.
did not stop attempting to flee the
January 1
officers.
is just
Police
right around the
proceeded to
corner.
pursue the motorcyclist until the driver collided with the curb on Nye Hill Road, ejecting both the driver and passenger of the motorcycle. The operator and passenger were given medical assistance at the scene before being transported to ECMC for non-life-threatening injuries. As a result of the investigation, the operator was identified as 20-year-old Jose Vasquez and was charged with a DWI, reckless driving, and unlawfully fleeing a police officer. Tops has announced the return of its annual
Did you
free
know
gas
that
and groceries campaign
The
starting
New York State
tomorrow
Builders
and will
Association
last
did
until October
a
18th.
market survey.
Tickets to enter for a chance to
Take
win a
a
year's
guess
worth of
at
gas
what
and
the
groceries is
awareness
only
factor was.
$1 as proceeds will go towards benefiting
Less than
Oshai
five.
Children's Hospital.
Less than
The
five.
Bills will look to keep their undefeated record
So,
alive tomorrow during
hello,
Sunday
is
night
this thing
football
on?
against a
You know, we're
divisional
talking to
opponent in
people,
the
but
New
who's
England
listening?
Patriots.
Because no
And
one's
speaking
building a
about
house.
injuries,
If
head
they were
coach
building
Sean
a house, they'd
McDermott
be
gave an
listening.
update on who will be out during tomorrow night's matchup.
So Dorian Strong and Dorian Williams, they'll both be out. TJ Sanders, we'll take it one day at a time with him as we head down the stretch here. Same, well, not the same, but you look at Spencer Brown, Matt Milano, Ed Oliver, they'll all practice. We'll see how they do.
Kickoff is slated for 8:20, and you can catch all the Bills action on our sister station, WGR Sports Radio 550. WBEN news time is 10:33. The Just Call Jet First Alert forecast today, we're looking at a high of 82, and tonight we're looking to get down to 56.
You know that. I know
Tomorrow
I
we
told
got
you that.
sunshine with a high of 86, with it getting down to a low of
Oh,
64.
Pepper
And on
be on
Monday,
at
we're
11.
looking at a
Calling it at
continuation
11.
of that sunshine with a high of 81, getting down to a low of
Surprised I was able to get
66.
somebody from the
Right now
other
it's
side.
68 degrees with sunny skies outside our Amherst
So
studio.
hopefully
I'm Chris
today-
Giacobello. The
I'd
WBEN
be
Paul
happy to.
Davis
Yeah.
Restoration Newsroom is the news feed that never stops. Stay in the know and follow our updated X feed for the latest by following at WBEN.
Broadcasting on News Radio 930 WBEN since 1989, this is Hammer Time Radio. Brought to you by Lakeshore Bank, putting people first since 1891.
Well, folks, it's officially Rocktober. Yay! And you know what that means. We will be seeing our furnaces turn on. Boy, what a great run of weather we've had. And your heat may not have turned on yet, but it's got to be happening soon, right? You remember that smell when your heat does kick on? Well, that is the debris that's collected on your heat exchanger burning off. And what I'm talking about on that heat exchanger is the same thing that collects deep down in your ductwork. Dust mites, dust mite feces, dead skin cells, bacteria, mold, all that burns off in a few days, but it lingers in your ductwork until you have it cleaned out. And the only way to have it cleaned out definitively and completely is by having my friends at Indoor Professionals come over. And if you haven't had it done, folks, in the last 3 to 5 years, listen up, because Mr. Gordon's going to give you some good reasons to call today. Here's a 5-star review from Google, hot off the presses. Hammer Time listener of Indoor Professionals came out, and they did a great job. There's a good reason to call them. They simply are the best in the region, while others offer duct cleaning along with other services. Indoor Air Professionals this is their service. The team arrived on time, had clear communication, immediately got to work, and they were quick and efficient. And not only were the ducts cleaned and sanitized, the basement was cleaned as well. They even cleaned up after themselves and then some. I couldn't be happier, and my family breathes easier, literally and figuratively, knowing that years of dust and debris are no longer in the ductwork. Great price as well. Peter Gordon from Indoor Professionals, as promised, joins me on the live line. Good morning, Mr. Gordon.
Yeah, so Evan said it all. About 90% of our customers let us know how much healthier they are as they stop taking medication and using their inhalers for asthma. And, besides having the most thorough duct cleaning on the planet, we have amazing medical grade air purifiers that are 40 times more efficient than HEPA filtered units.
And that's so well said. The medical grade air purifier that we have in the bedroom, well, not only does it clean that air in that we have radiant heat, but also Diane really likes the white noise that it provides. And down in the basement, we've got that awesome April Air high capacity dehumidifier, 5 times more powerful than the cheap throwaway, and reliable, dependable, not going to start on fire, that's for sure. And probably be the last one I ever need to buy. Peter, the extra special Hammer Time Radio discounts for the first Saturday of October.
All right, so here's the hot news is everybody calls. Everybody knows, not everybody, but most people know that we're the only ones that can do a thorough cleaning to get the health results. So we're booked all the way to the end of October. But I do have a couple of emergency spots in the second week if you have respiratory issues. But I want to shout out to all the seniors, military, vets, law enforcement, first responders, and repeat customers. Now, you got to fit into one of those. And we have an all-inclusive bundle, and you just call me today. It'll only take 3 minutes of your time, and I'll get you an estimate and make sure you get one of those discounts, as well as you can save $350 off the Healthway Deluxe that we mentioned, the air purifier that covers 1,200 square feet, and $350 off the April Air high capacity dehumidifier.
There you go. Don't delay, folks. These discounts are just for you and just for today. 716-683-3000. Extension 303 will drop you right onto Peter's desk. 683-3000, extension 303. Got IAP? Get it today.
Breathe easier with Indoor Air Professionals. For every breath you take.
Dominic Ortiz here. Fall's around the corner and the perfect time to get your home ready for winter. USA Installation's premium foam seals every gap, keeping warm air in and the Buffalo chill out. Keep your home cozy and your heating bills stay lower. New York homeowners may qualify for up to 80% off installation costs with state and federal incentives. USA Installation even offers spray foam for homes and businesses. Call 716-431-4500 or USAinstallation.com.
USA Insulation.
And tell them Dominic sent you. Hi, it's Dominic Ortiz. Whenever someone asks me, who do you call for roof repair or replacement? I say call Ava Roofing and Siding. They install over 1.5 million square feet of shingles and siding annually across Western New York. When you call Ava, you get superior service, including expert foreman on every job. Get an on-the-spot free written estimate and project drawing for your roof replacement or repair by calling 343-ROOF or go to avaroofing.com. Ava also offers 0% financing.
What the
When
heck?
quality matters, call Ava
Sit back
Roofing.
and deal with it. Who pays attention to this?
Attention contractors,
Again,
this is
take your
Dominic
time on
Ortiz
it, push
here
them
to
out 20
remind you that
years,
Herb Company
and
is your
then you're
trusted
talking
source
about
for
reasonable
top-quality
approach
contractor
to,
installed products, from tankless hot
shift
water
or
heaters to
pivot. And
energy-efficient
guess what? We don't
boilers
have
and radiant
bridge.
heating
Right now
systems.
we have
Herb
no
has what you
bridge
need
to
to stay ahead of the
electrification
curve.
other
With
than
building
fork
code
hand.
changes coming
That's it.
next year,
Exactly.
costs are likely to rise. So
Hybrids
now's the
is
time
great.
to lock in savings.
I think
Visit
that is
herbcompany.com or
100%.
call one of our
Risk and
knowledgeable sales
hydrogen, but
associates
that
at
can be engineered out.
825-1400 today. Plan ahead and
National
save with
fuels
Herb
told me
Company,
that
your partner
it's
in
not hard to
excellence.
retrofit hydrogen-based natural gas to go right into the existing system.
Live, local, Buffalo. all day long. News Radio 930 WBEN.
Monday is Italian American Classics at the Come Home to Cortez Cooking School. Don't miss out on this one, folks. Chicken Parmesan, eggplant Parmesan, fettuccine Alfredo. That's Monday's class, the 6th. Go to Cortez.net, register today. Great class. After that, let's see, in the 20th of October, classic sauces. We'll be teaching you bolognese, puttanesca, and aglio olio. You can also give the gift of a class. It's all at Cortez.net. And when you're there, check out everything we do at Cortez Construction. Room additions, kitchen and bath renovations, Bella Cucina custom kitchen cabinet lines, Better Living sunrooms, solar shades, retractable awnings. And then there's those corkscrews, TMP of Buffalo, helical piers, all listed on our website at Cortez.net. My guest in studio is Ed Rath. We're talking about the energy plan, and Ed, of course, is an energy consultant. That's his main bread and butter after having served us as a state senator and Erie County legislature. It's amazing you were able to fit all that into life, Ed, when you were so busy as a state senator. You were probably away most of the week, right?
Well, for the first half of the year, you are, as you're doing the work as a state senator or my colleagues in the state assembly. And striking a balance was always very important with me, to being in the private sector and remaining in the private sector, as well as being honored to serve as a public servant. And it gave me a unique perspective, if you will, the fusion between government, policy, and legislation, as well as the energy industry. And now in our private sector business, we're able to offer many of our consulting services to our clients, our large commercial and industrial clients who can't really see across the very confusing landscape.
There you go.
That's exactly what we have right now, is a confusing, expensive, and once again, unreliable landscape in New York State.
Well, here's somebody who's really confused because as of January 1, he's got to build an electric house, and that's Phil Nanula from Essex Homes and the Builders Association president. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Dominic and Ed.
Good morning, Phil.
Hey, good morning, Ed. I consider you guys both my friends, and I appreciate that continuing to talk on this. I do agree with your previous caller. I guess in retrospect, a couple of years ago, we should have done a better job in informing the public with this issue being embedded in the budget process, and that's how it was approved without proper vetting by not only the Senate, but the Assembly and then the residents. It's very discouraging to me as a resident of the state for over 65 years that was treated that way in such an important, aspect.
Absolutely. And,
Phil, I couldn't agree with you more as well, because that's what was done in the dark of night.
Yeah.
Right? Is they passed the New York Heat Act in the dark of night. They have done so many things legislatively without the committee process, without the due diligence that the people and the residents of the state of New York deserve. Certainly at something that has this high of a stakes attached to it.
The other thing that really is distressing, Phil, and you can talk about the survey that the Builders Association did, there's such an apathy in our environment, in our community, in our state. People aren't really aware that this is happening, and it's going to affect everybody. It is already affecting everybody with the increased cost of electricity. But talk about the survey that was done, Phil.
Yeah, we kept getting comments when we were speaking out publicly 18 months ago or so, people saying, I don't know that that's happening. No, it only affects new builds. And, they just were a lot of confusion, most of which was they weren't aware. So we commissioned that survey, and it qualified our concern that, somewhere over 90% of the people really had little to no awareness that this was coming. This is a survey that was done across the entire state.
And what do you attribute that to? Other than the fact that if you're not going to build a house, then you're probably tuned out of the reality.
Well, I think it's what we were just talking about a minute ago. I think it was a way that this was passed.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't want to say it was done secretly, but it was pretty quietly passed. And I don't think that the general public, had the ability to become aware of it, because obviously their representatives would have been chiming in, not only in Albany, but probably within their own districts, and they would have gotten the feedback of their constituents. You could speak to that.
Absolutely, Phil. Let me share with you what I believe good government is. Good government is going to the subject matter experts and talking to the people who are impacted, not only the utilities, not only the big businesses, but everyday rate payers. That wasn't done at all. So that's an example or a reflection on what you're getting out of Albany right now, which is forced mandates, out of touch policies, and implications that are not even considered.
So, Phil, today, as I mentioned, is really the last chance. Monday is the last chance for the public to have their voice heard. And we're going to go into this holding pattern now between October 6th and January 1, unless you come to me and say there's been some movement in the positive direction.
Yeah.
Do you have any indication that that's going to happen?
100%. I don't really want to promote that it's in a holding pattern. It is as a relationship to the public comment, but in our sector, we're never going to stop.
Right. I appreciate that.
Right.
What do you see happening between now and January 1?
We need to, bottom line, you can qualify if I'm correct in saying this, but I believe the only way to really get this to pause is through executive order. So,
Well, no, there is the New York State Energy Planning Board, which is coming up with a 15-year plan for the next 15 years through 2040. They're going to adopt those new approaches, those new policies, whatever their changes may be. That's going to be drawn up by the end of the year. And again, I want to go back to what we talked about earlier, which is really, really important. And that's the fact that Donna DeCarolis and Dennis Alsenbeck said, pause this, temporarily suspend it. Let's bring about some realistic transition plans and all the above energy approach, pushing the timelines out 20 years, do something that's realistic. So if they just hit the pause button, then we can have some reasonableness once again coming out of Albany.
promoting that for 2 years, guys,
Yeah.
and all we hear is we're smart people, we'll figure it out. Well, it isn't figured out.
Right. And we'll get into that in a minute. 803-0930 to Cheektowaga we go. John, good morning. You're on with Ed Rath and Phil Nanula.
Good morning, you guys, and thank you so much. Mandates are just impossible. Do you remember when we had all incandescent lights and then LED lights came out and they were like $9 a light? Well, that wasn't realistic. So then they came down to 5, 4, and under 3, and now they made it worthwhile. So people want incandescent or LED lights in order to reduce their electric bills. And so why don't they make this, instead of a mandate, make it so it would be enticing for us to want to go to an alternate source of heat?
That's a great point, John. And that goes back to Phil Nanula. Phil, the idea of having an energy choice certainly is what we're talking about. But in that, as of January 1, right now there won't be a choice. What do you see happening to the cost of a new house that you'll be building after January 1?
Well, basically, we'd be forced to look at the heat pump technology, and our analysis shows, and this is bids from the contractors that install it. This isn't just my opinion. A single system is going to be about $10,000 more. And the issue with heat pumps is over 2,300 square foot of living space is going to require a second system. That's not currently the case with gas. We have to get over mid 3,000 square foot range. So that now is going to drive the cost over $25,000. And then there's the cost associated with going from 200 amp to 400 amp. And those aspects are going to cost anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 more per house. This is
unbelievable.
Very significant. Yeah. And then you have the reliability of the
right.
not performing well in low temperature.
Right.
That is such an essential point, Phil, is the fact that there's a two-headed monster here per se. You
Exactly.
have cost and you have reliability, both working against
said.
the safety and quite honestly the economics of doing anything moving forward.
How do you answer a prospective home buyer of yours, Phil, in that you're probably booking houses now fast and furiously to try and beat the deadline? How are you answering the question about reliability to that homeowner who's buying an electric house as of January 1 that he won't be able to have a generator?
Well, they are making exceptions for generators. The most recent alteration of that mandate was that the generator can be an exception. The issue is we haven't been told what that means. We haven't been told how the gas line can be run from home, where the meter can be located, what limitations there are, what costs are involved. The people that we're speaking to right now are going to be electric. We have filled our quota for the end of this year of all the people that rushed to get natural gas. So the new people that we're speaking to are going to be electric. They're asking these questions. We don't have the answers.
But you mentioned that they're making an exception for generators. What about the fact that in a home you're already working on, there'll be gas down the street, but in a new street, the gas line's not going to be there.
I posed that question both to the gas company and the electric company, and they both said, well, you'd have the opportunity to run the gas from the closest source. And that was a little bit tongue in cheek because you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to get.
So what?
You're correct. A new development that would be more challenging and maybe have to do with propane.
So the larger theme or the conclusion of all this is that in New York State, we have no plan. We have no strategy. We have nothing that's coordinated, that's answering these questions ahead of time. We're reactionary right now,
Exactly.
after the fact. And look at what it means to businesses like Phil's.
On that point, whatever happened to the grandfather clause? Because that fell on its face too. The grandfather clause said that if a street was already developed with infrastructure in place, that the builder could continue to tap into the gas line.
The 100-foot rule.
Right. Whatever happened to that?
Well, the 100-foot rule was passed. It hasn't been signed into law by the governor, but the grandfather bill has been tabled. All of our efforts recent has been to get when the Senate to get back to Albany to reinitiate that bill. That solves a ton of problems. Now we're dealing with new infrastructure, not existing infrastructure that's not sized for this.
Right.
And Phil, that's a really important point that the 100-foot rule is on the governor's desk. It's up to the governor between now and the end of the year to make a decision on that. And she needs to make the right decision and retain the 100-foot
How come she's
rule.
been quiet?
I think the reason why the governor has been quiet is because she's being pulled by downstate forces. She is being pushed by an agenda that is trying to force this electrification and decarbonization of New York State. And there's a lot of influence that is pushing the governor in this way. As much as she's an upstater, right now her priorities, unfortunately, are with the downstate agenda.
I think that's hopefully proves to be very unhealthy for her.
Well, she's going to have to answer to it.
She's got a big election coming up.
Precisely, Phil.
Decide where she wants to plant that flag.
8030930. By the way, at 11 o'clock, we'll be joined by New York State Assemblyman Chris Burke. Will be
Pat
Burke will be calling in after the 11 o'clock news. So we're looking forward to getting the perspective of someone from the other side.
And you know what? Pat and I have served together in government for a long time. He'll be a good voice for the other
From
side.
what I understand, he's very reasonable.
Pat is a reasonable guy and he's a friend.
We're looking forward to speaking with him after the 11 o'clock news. In the meantime, 8030930, pick up the phone and give us a call. This is Hammer Time Radio on WBEN.
It's Susan Rose. If you've ever dreamed of a new kitchen, now's the time before these unheard of savings disappear. Kitchen and Bath Unlimited is making it possible with incredible discounts. For the first time ever, Decor cabinets are 25% off, and every bit of that discount is passed directly to you. Imagine saving thousands on the kitchen or bath you've always wanted. But this offer ends October 6th. Stop in today at Kitchen and Bath Unlimited on Union near Walden. Or visit kitchenandbathunlimited.net.
This is Dominic Ortiz. Fall is on its way, and winter's not far behind. Make sure your home stays comfortable all season long with a $99 health and safety checkup from TRS Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an upgrade? Well, TRS can recommend a high-efficiency Rheem system to keep you cozy all year. Flexible financing and nothing beats Rheem. Visit TRSHeatingandAirConditioning.com for details. TRS Heating and Air Conditioning and Power of Tomorrow, comforting today.
Looking for the perfect window treatments? At Budget Blinds of Williamsville, we're locally owned and bring the showroom to you with a free instant consultation from shades and blinds to drapery, mirrors, and woven shades. We offer a wide range of options working with top vendors like Hunter Douglas. Plus, with our 5-year no questions asked warranty, you can
go by it every day.
Visit us at 8050 Worley Drive or call today. With over 500 5-star Google reviews, we pride ourselves on exceptional service. Budget Blinds of Williamsville, quality, service, and value in every window.
Fall is here and the colors are everywhere. Bring that same beauty to your backyard
Looks like
with
it's worthy.
Lengo's Fiberon
Worthy,
composite
so.
decking. Dominic Ortiz here. Fiberon's vibrant colors and natural wood look make your outdoor space pop without the hassle of staining or sealing. Plus, it's durable, splinter-free, and built to handle Buffalo weather year after year. Shop wholesale prices with free delivery on orders over $500.
You'd like to see it.
Order online at Lengo.com.
Oh, yeah?
Celebrate lasting
It's
fall.
worth it.
Fiberon decking Becky from Lincoln. Dominic Ortiz here. Fall's around the corner and the perfect time to get your home ready for winter. USA Insulation's premium foam seals every gap, keeping warm air in and the Buffalo
We should
chill
answer the
out.
question,
Keep your
where
home
does the
cozy and your heating bills stay lower. New York homeowners may qualify for up to 80% off insulation costs with state and federal incentives. USA Insulation even offers spray foam for homes and businesses. Call 716-431-4500 or USAinsulation.com.
USA Insulation.
Hey, Tom, Dominic sent you.
WBEN 930 AM, as Buffalo as Beef on Weck.
10:55 is Hammer Time. I'm joined this Saturday morning by Ed Rath, a former state senator, and now, of course, he's always was an energy consultant. His company is Alto Energy Consultants. He's the managing director. And on the live line is Phil Nanula from Essex Homes and the New York State Builders Association. After the 11 o'clock news, we'll be joined by New York State Assemblyman Pat Burke, who was in the majority, so we'll be interested to hear a perspective from the majority. By the way, on that point, we've been clamoring to get the majority party in to give us some sense of this, and he's the first and only one that was successful in securing as a guest.
Well, I think it's important that anyone who is elected into government is answerable to the constituents.
But the way they handle it is they just ignore the phone call from WBEN.
Well, I give Assemblyman Burke a lot of credit for coming in and being part of this conversation. The people need to know.
On that point, I've tried to reach out to county executive polling cars because he did voice his opinion that the Public Service Commission avoided Buffalo for some reason for public hearings.
That's not necessarily true. That was on rate increases for the utilities.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And so Pat Burke also voiced his opposition to that, which prompted my phone call to him because I thought he might be sentimental to our point here. But we've reached out to Congressman Kennedy, no response. We've reached out to Senator Schumer, no response. We reached out to the governor, no response. I mean, not even a courtesy of, I'm sorry, we're not interested, just no response.
Government needs to be accountable. And they also need to be transparent. And on this rate increase, this is a NYSEG rate increase, and the county executive and Assemblyman Burke are accurate. They did not have the public hearing in Western New York, NYSEG, like they should have. And this is a rate increase on the distribution cost. This isn't a rate increase on supply. So the rate increase is on about 30% of the bill, but it's still an actionable and an important number for the residents.
And then couple in what the smart meters have done to the accuracy readings, because that's what I was told is the issue with my meter, is that my old meter was giving me a break.
And the build out of technology, smart meters is a major aspect of it, and that is mixed into the costs that are going along with this rate increase. But what we're not doing is we're not investing enough in our infrastructure, in our distribution network, because we have all this upcoming demand, 19 projects in New York State that are being held up because they can't get access to the grid right now.
But the essence of how electricity works is at the core of reliability.
It's real time. Electricity is real time. You have to have the power generation available real time to dispatch across New York State. Think of these major investments that are happening across the grid to the tune of 3 megawatts of power needs that the grid can't handle right now. The Buffalo Niagara Partnership did a nice job profiling that.
A texter is writing that, is this because the downstate weather is more temperate than Western New York weather, that they're just so clueless about what our needs are here?
I think, that may be a part of it. I think it's a part of the overall equation of the how out of touch downstate is. Imagine this as well. In New York City, most people don't own it. They rent. So they're not in many ways responsible for their own energy bills. They might be renting in a high rise. So we need to have upstate priorities and upstate policies, not just New York City policies.
Phil, on that point, do you see a different temperature to home builders across the state based on how fever pitched it is here compared to what you might hear from a builder in Albany or closer to New York?
I think it's definitely closer to New York. So far, the discussions from Albany West have been consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree with Senator Grant that the New York State or New York City area has got a little different profile in housing, although the Long Island area is also complaining about this.
That's very true. And actually, Senator Matera, who's a friend of mine, is a ranker on the Energy Committee. He's from Long Island, and he has been a leading voice from Long Island across New York State fighting against these failed policies.
A texter's asking, why didn't the natural gas suppliers participate in the lawsuit associated with the ban?
Repeat the question.
Why didn't natural gas suppliers participate in the lawsuit associated with the ban? That lawsuit was raised by the Builder Association.
I believe they're co-sponsors.
Okay. Well, 11 o'clock news is now. All right. 11 o'clock news is now. We're back to continue this discussion. Phil Nanula, Ed Rath, and joining us, Pat Burke, after the news.
WBEN Buffalo, WKSE HD3 Niagara Falls.
Always live on the Free Odyssey
Good morning. It's 11:01, 70 degrees and sunny in Buffalo. From the WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom, I'm Chris Giacobello. Top stories today: illegal victory and fleeing from officers.
The WBEN first alert forecast calls for wall-to-wall sunshine and temperatures will be near record levels by Sunday.
Here's what's happening. The identification of the male who lost his life from a motor vehicle accident on October 2nd on Niagara Falls Boulevard has been identified as 55-year-old Walter Confer III of Wheatfield. Confer was a pedestrian who was struck by a 2021 Jeep SUV who was traveling northbound on Niagara Falls Boulevard 2 days ago. The accident is still being investigated by the Niagara County Sheriff's Office. Early this morning, Buffalo firefighters responded to a 2-alarm fire at a 1-story commercial furniture store located on Genesee Street. The fire caused an estimated $150,000 in damage to the building and $50,000 in damage to its contents. 5 firefighters sustained non-life-threatening injuries while battling the fire, and the cause of the fire remains under investigation. This morning at around 2:30, East Aurora police attempted to pull over a motorcycle on Oakwood Avenue, but the motorcyclist did not stop attempting to flee the officers. Police proceeded to pursue the motorcyclist until the driver collided with the curb on Nye Hill Road, ejecting both the driver and passenger of the motorcycle. The operator and passenger were given medical assistance at the scene before being transported to ECMC for non-life-threatening injuries. As a result of the investigation, the operator was identified as 20-year-old Jose Vasquez and was charged with the DWI, reckless driving, and unlawfully fleeing a police officer. Yesterday, Niagara Falls police responded to a crash at the intersection of 4th Street and Ferry Avenue involving an e-bike and a 2025 Ford Escape. The Ford Escape was said to be a city-owned vehicle being driven by a 46-year-old female employee who collided with an e-bike rider when turning onto Ferry Avenue. The 65-year-old man on the e-bike suffered serious head injuries and was transported to ECMC, last listed in critical condition. The driver of the vehicle is cooperating in the investigation as charges are pending. The Seneca Nation secured a legal victory yesterday in its ongoing land efforts with New York State and the New York State Thruway Authority. U.S. Magistrate Judge Michael Romer issued a report concluding that the state violated federal law and took Seneca Nation lands for the Thruway illegally. The outstanding invoices for vehicles traveling through Cattaraugus territory have totaled up to more than $4 billion since 2008. The Bills will look to keep their undefeated record alive tomorrow during Sunday Night Football against a divisional opponent in the New England Patriots. As some familiar faces will be returning to Orchard Park, Deion Dawkins had positive words when talking about Patriots wide receiver Stephon Diggs.
This is year 2 without Diggs. So it's not like Road is going to make it the return of Diggs again. No, Diggs is our brother. Diggs is our teammate. Diggs is one of us.
Can Phil hear me? Philip, can you hear me?
His journey just as well as he's a part of ours. He's helped us win a lot of games, and he's been through the struggles, the 13-second game, and like all that stuff. Like Diggs was here.
I wanted to know if he ever spoke to Pat Burke.
They look at it as entertainment of his, personal life, but he's a guy, and we love him as a football player and as a person.
Kickoff is slated for 8:20 tomorrow, and you can catch all the Bills action on our sister station, WGR Sports Radio 550. WBEN news time is 11:04. The Just Call Jet First Alert forecast is coming up.
Miss a show, segment, or interview? Download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
I hope he doesn't get cold feet.
Listen live to any of our content on demand, wherever you are.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways. Put together an emergency kit with Whitehall. Create a family communication plan with your tea time. Remind
he should be calling back. He said he was at his son's football game, and then so he he said that he was calling back, but
for the work
I really hope he does, obviously.
Yeah.
and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA
I
and
even
the Ad
called when I called Schumer's office. I said, just really want to hear
WBEN
what
first
Senator
alert
thinks
forecast
about
calls for a sunny sky and a high of 82 today, clear down to 56 overnight. Temperatures will tie the record from 2007 on Sunday with a high of 86. Mostly sunny, breezy, warm up to 81 on Monday. Much needed showers in here on Tuesday, even a rumble of thunder, a high temperature 70. A shower before daybreak Wednesday, otherwise sunny, breezy, and cooler. Backside of the front, the high 61. The high 60 on Thursday with plenty of sun. With the WBEN first alert
You lock them both?
I'm meteorologist Chad Merrill.
Right now, 73 degrees and sunny skies outside our Amherst studio. I'm Chris Giacobello.
You lock them both?
WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom is a news feed that never stops. Stay in the know and follow our updated X feed for the latest by following at WBEN.
You know his district number?
When you walk down the right, call Dominic Cortez. Call Cortez, you're the man for holding through.
Leaking roof? Need new windows? Looking to remodel your kitchen or bath? You've come to the right place and the right time. Broadcasting on News Radio 930 WBEN since 1989, this is Hammer Time Radio. Brought to you by Lakeshore Bank, putting people first since 1891. Now, your host, your man for home improvements, Dominic Cortez.
And we are back with you here on WBEN, sharing with you the whole storyline of the energy changes that are imminent as of January 1. In studio is Ed Rath. Ed is a energy consultant, former New York State Senator and county legislator. He's the managing director of Alto Energy Consulting. And on the live line, we have Phil Nanula from Essex Homes and New York State Builders Association. And joining us now is New York State Assemblyman Pat Burke. Good morning, Pat.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Thanks for joining in the conversation. A lot of people are enraged here, Pat. I'm sure you're hearing from your constituents. In fact, a texter is writing, Pat Burke is my assemblyman. If he wants my vote next time, he will fix this problem. What do you say about that, Pat?
I wasn't on the call before, so specific to energy bills.
Yeah. So obviously the whole issue of electrification, which is imminent as of January 1, new homes have to be 100% electric. And I know you have had your opinion voiced about the Public Service Commission's lack of attention to Buffalo as far as the public hearings going on the rate increases. But the bigger picture is what's your stance on the whole idea of changing to an electrified society?
Sure. Well, I think the framing, right, of electric bills are going up because of our push towards electrification. One is just not true. It's not accurate. You're seeing electric bills go up across the country. We're talking about supply issues. We're talking about major demand from data centers, and that's going to continue and grow. So what people are seeing in their bill is not really necessarily related to a push towards electrification. And certainly the CLCPA, the New York State's very, very ambitious electrification goals need to be reviewed and reconsidered. Some of the policies, I would say specific to, I always point to like the 100-foot rule. So it used to be that anytime somebody put in new builds, the lateral 100-foot line to the main gas line was socialized. So if someone else built housing, it was being subsidized by the rest of us as ratepayers to pay for those new builds. That 100-foot rule doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you have other options. You can think of geothermal, not socialized. So why are we as a society investing in that type of infrastructure? And it makes it long term.
Well, when you bring up the whole issue of reliability, though, Pat, that's really at the bottom line of this. Reliability is the key, and of course, affordability. We have geothermal, which is a great option, of course, but it's very expensive. Electricity works, but pardon me.
It's very expensive because it's not. So is
installing the gas, that 100-foot line is also very, very, very expensive. It's just that everyone else pays for it. It's socialized. So geothermal compared to that actually isn't expensive. It's just some want to choose to socialize the gas infrastructure and not socialize something like geothermal, which is very effective and cost effective and good for the environment.
I certainly agree with that assessment that geothermal is probably the most definitive way to heat and cool a house, but the average person is not going to invest upwards of 40 grand.
Well, and Dominic, an important point here. And Assemblyman, it's good to talk with you. It's been a little while since you've seen each other. I hope you're doing well.
Is that it, Brad?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about, geothermal, as well as natural gas, as well as electricity, as well as hydrogen-based energy. What we should be looking at and analyzing is an all-of-the-above approach to the utilization of energy supply, energy delivery, and the overall energy industry. If we do that, we have the ability to have the best of all possible worlds versus being a little bit more single-threaded when it comes to the forced electrification of New York State. So I really hope that the Energy Planning Board in their next 15-year plan takes a hard look at the timelines and also takes a hard look at the cost and reliability issues. And Assemblyman, as you and I both know, we were in the county legislature together. The E911 system, for example, that is so reliant on a consistent and a guaranteed power grid. If we continue to electrify, we're weakening the power grid, and we could be putting public safety at risk.
Phil, why don't you chime in here on the 100-foot rule and how what your opinion is on the fact that the gas lines being socialized might be a positive thing in terms of being able to provide natural gas to the homes that you're building?
Well, there's a number of points here. I mean, geothermal was socialized up until recently. There was consumer rebates that were funded through taxpayer money. The socialization of the first 100 feet, first of all, it's also done with electric. In building a home, the gas company supplied the line to the house. Those fees, my understanding, were spread over anywhere between 60 to 80 years. If you look at your bills, those fees are on there for all the homes that require gas line supplied over the last 60 to 80 years. So it's kind of fair that everybody's participated and has continued in new construction. That's not the biggest problem. The fee to run the gas line with the road to the house is minimal compared to what we need to do to be all electric.
When you talk about that and the loss of natural gas to a house, Pat, how do you explain to a homeowner who loses power in the middle of winter and they don't have a generator to supply needed heat? What do you say to that person?
Two important points. One, we're not losing gas to homes, that's for new builds, big difference. So if people think it's being something we take it from, it's not. But two, if people are using their gas stove for heat, there are a bunch of really serious hazards. It's actually dangerous. What we do is if the power goes out, because don't forget, if your power goes out, typically your furnace goes out too. Nearly all furnaces are connected to electricity at this point. So if you decide to open up in a severe emergency situation, it's 0 degrees. If you can't do it, your risk of loss of life is significant. But otherwise, don't turn on your gas stove and open it up. It's an incredibly dangerous thing to do. It's not safe to do.
I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm suggesting that the value of having a standby generator is going to be taken away when a home is 100% electric.
So again, if we have additional generators that can be used separately, it's not like there aren't accessible generators that don't. I have a generator in my house. It's not a natural gas generator. It's a gasoline generator. It's inconvenient. I have to wheel it out. I have to do a bunch of stuff, but it keeps a couple things on. So it's not like there aren't options available.
But it just seems that to me, take this for what it's worth. It just seems to me that we're taking a step backwards in terms of progress when we have these conveniences that make so much a difference in terms of public safety that we're going to lose.
Well, I agree. And one important point, too, is the fact that we have a current system of power generation that's working. And we have a current system that has also taken 4.3 gigawatts of natural gas-based power generation offline in the last 6 years. That's a lot of generation that has been taken away. Why would we take something away when we have a system that is properly working? And the more that we rely less on fossil-based power generation, the less power we're going to have to be generated. So you could have rolling brownouts and other issues with regards to the lack of access to power generation because we don't have the sources of electricity going forward.
The other thing I've been warned is an imminent hazard is with the pressure on the grid to sustain the operation of electrical needs, that we're going to start to see power surges and brownouts, as you mentioned. And a surge in a house could do a lot of damage.
Here's what I'll actually agree with you on. So New York State, so we'll use the western part of New York State as an example. We talk about the term carbon neutral a lot.
Right.
We are carbon neutral in western New York because we have hydropower. So we actually have achieved what generally the goal is. And something I will agree with my, many of my Republican counterparts on is like, hey, New York is really not the problem when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions. We should set ambitious goals, and we should certainly lead, but it should be really practical. There are other bad actors out there that are really, polluting a lot and causing major climate catastrophes. We are seeing significant extreme weather events happening that are also extraordinarily costly to the loss of life, costly just to taxpayers and emergency responses. We're going to have to keep putting more and more and more money into these emergency response preparedness programs because of the level of extreme weather. Like we're having once a century storms twice a year.
Yeah.
Like there's a real problem that we can't ignore. Now, do I think maybe New York State is, you try and do your part in some it's not practical? Actually, yeah, I do. And when we do policies, ambitious policies, you swing for the fences. Okay, but then you should see what works and what doesn't, and then get really serious about changing the things.
And Pat, to that point, the Energy Planning Board has until the end of this year to modify some of the CLCPA goals, and they should, because right now those numbers are not reachable. We only have 29% renewable generation in New York State. We're supposed to be at 70% in the next 5 years. Take those timelines, kick them out 20 years, and then let's work on a bridge pathway forward.
On that point,
it's just the right thing. I mean, it's a reasonable approach.
Pat, on the point of
for not implementing parts of the CLCPA, so I think there is bipartisan agreement that hey, we have to actually slow down and look at this and see what's practical.
I'm glad to hear that.
And then on the environmental part, I don't want to turn people off. I don't want us to lose the plot, lose the message that we have to be serious about the environment. But if you make bad policies or you make policies with really good intentions, to fix them when they're not working, you lose the plot. And I think that's
so Assemblyman, there was a letter, and I'm sure you saw it, from Dennis Elsenbeck and Donna DeCarolis. I think it was July 29th, that talked about changing these unreachable goals when it comes to decarbonizing in New York State. That was an action item. That was extremely well written, and it actually was a call to arms. And I think that the leadership in Albany, at every level in Albany, needs to listen to that call to arms.
803-0930. If you'd like to participate in this discussion, we'd love to have you be part of it. On the live line is Phil Manula from Essex Homes and New York State Builders Association and New York State Assemblyman Pat Burke, and in studio Ed Rath, who's an energy consultant. Participate in the program by giving us a call. 803-0930. This is Hammer Time Radio on WBEN. What I want to add.
Wondering where to shop for home improvements? You've come to the right place. Our sponsors have proudly earned the Hammer Time seal of approval by operating with honesty and integrity. So remember, to buy right the first time, buy from a Hammer Time partner.
Lakeshore Bank believes in community banking with exceptional customer service and local expertise. Lakeshore Bank is here to help you with all your financial needs, from home financing to small business banking. Lakeshore Bank gives you access to state-of-the-art online banking tools and the attention, flexibility, and responsiveness you deserve. Visit one of Lakeshore Bank's 10 Western New York branches. Call 716-366-4017 or visit mylsbank.com today.
That smell when your furnace kicks on, it's not just dust. It's bacteria, Mold, dead skin cells, and mold, all baked into your air duct system after a long summer. And that's just what burns off. If your ducts haven't been cleaned in the last 3 to 6 years, you're breathing in contamination every day. Call Indoor Air Professionals, 716-683-3000, extension 303. The most thorough duct cleaning and sanitizing before you're sealed indoors for the season. Hi, this is Dominic Ortiz. My family-run business believes in supporting other family-run businesses like Buffalo Plumbing Showroom. With their long tradition of excellence, they offer top-quality plumbing and design solutions. From water-sense fixtures to luxurious steam rooms and the latest color innovations, you can't trust their expertise to deliver high-quality materials at great prices. Call one of their sales associates at 826-1400 and schedule a visit to the Kohler Registered Showroom located at 600 Bailey Avenue today. Hammer Time listeners, it's time to gorilla your basement. Right now, get 10% off our beautiful resinous basement floor, 20% off custom cabinet and storage solutions, and a whopping 30% off truss core panels to get your basement holiday ready. Why is the Gorilla Floor the best in West New York? We're the only ones bold enough to guarantee protection against the #1 cause of floor failure, moisture. Every Gorilla Floor comes with a built-in vapor barrier at no extra cost. No shortcuts, no peeling, no failures, just Gorilla Strong protection. Visit GorillaGarageGear.com.
It's Susan Rose. If you've ever dreamed of a new kitchen, now's the time before these unheard of savings disappear. Kitchen and Bath Unlimited is making it possible with incredible discounts. For the first time ever, Decora cabinets are 25% off, and every bit of that discount is passed directly to you. Imagine saving thousands on the kitchen or bath you've always wanted. But this offer ends October 6th. Stop in today at Kitchen and Bath Unlimited on Union near Walden. Or visit kitchenandbathunlimited.net.
Hi, it's Dominic Ortiz. Whenever someone asks me, who do you call for roof repair or replacement, I say call Ava Roofing and Siding. They install over 1.5 million square feet of shingles and siding annually across Western New York. When you call Ava, you get superior service, including expert foreman on every job. Get an on-the-spot free written estimate and project drawing for your roof replacement or repair by calling 343-ROOF or go to avaroofing.com. Ava also offers 0% financing. When quality matters, call Ava Roofing.
Read the news online at WBEN.com.
This is Hammer Time Radio on WBEN, where the time is 11:22. In studio, Ed Rath. On the live line, Phil Nanula and Pat Burke taking your questions about electrification at 803-0930. Let's go to Buffalo and say hi to Brian. Good morning, Brian. You're on WBEN.
Yeah, I got a question, and I think I just was listening to the conversation. Somebody was mentioning that you can drag out a gas generator if you lose power.
Right.
Was saying that.
Pat Burke said that.
Pat,
Mm-hmm.
Pat, so I have a question for you. What if you've got a 75-year-old elderly parent that can't do that? How are they going to do that? How long is it going to take for them to die? Have you thought about that? So there's all sorts of people who can't, there's people who can't afford installing natural gas generators in their homes. How much does one cost?
Yep, there are several thousand.
So I hope every 75-year-old can afford several $1,000s in generators. In order to be able to do that. CERN, to be clear, not have CERN.
Okay, whoa. Only that one person talk.
Why don't we just do it for everyone? If it's actually a concern about loss of life for seniors, why don't we subsidize gas generators in every home in a climate like ours? If that's your genuine concern.
Well, the issue at hand is the convenience of being able to have a backup.
If you can afford it.
Right. And I can't deny the fact that the generator has a cost, but it's an option that's being taken away from us in a new home. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
How many senior citizens are buying brand new homes?
Well, let's ask Phil Nanula that.
Well, obviously the empty nester market is huge in Western New York. Our patio home localities are filling up as fast as we can put them online. I think the issue and the question is getting a little distorted. They started talking about gasoline generators. That is an option. It's a limited option because it burned 5 days of power outage during a blizzard. We can't even get to a gas station to get additional gas to power that. It is definitely a industry's biggest concern, not today or tomorrow, with the neighborhoods that we're being forced to convert to all electric, even though they have gas in them. It's the neighborhoods that are going to come online next year that are new, that have zero gas in them.
Right.
What percent, that's what I'm curious about, what percentage of homes now actually have natural gas generators installed in them?
There's more and more because with the storm, I mean, it's just created a surge in installation of natural gas. The neighborhood that we have here in Clarence, it has 108 homes in it. Over 60% of those homes have natural gas generators now. Comparatively, many years ago when it was more sporadic, where it was years apart that we had these types of storms, the generator usage was slower. I mean, when we had the big ice storm, that created a boom in generator installation.
Right. The other thing that relates to new construction, Pat, question for you. The governor has been said to want to see more homes built in New York State. And Phil Nanula will tell you that the cost of electrification for new home construction is going to skyrocket as of the first of the year because of the more expensive components that electricity requires. How are we going to be building more homes in New York State when they're going to cost so much more? Pat, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry. I lost you there for a second.
Homes are skyrocketing because of costs associated with a lot of things. One of them obviously being tariffs and inflation. So there's a lot of reasons. Let's not, if we're pointing the one thing at electrification, but if we keep kind of doing this circular argument, we're saying, yes, there's all these extreme weather events. And yes, it's because of climate change. But do we want to actually be proactive about it? And well, no, we just want to keep what we have. But we can't keep doing the same thing. I'll agree with all of you in saying, if we push a policy and it's not working, we have to revisit it and fix the parts that aren't working and get really, specific, get to the details and make it so people can function. But if we just find something that's going wrong and then point at it and say gas prices are electric prices are out of control, building prices are out of control, and it's because electrification. Well, guess what? We haven't even implemented most of the policies of the CLCPA, and I don't think we're going to be able to implement a lot of them. And I'll give you another one: the electric busing. Not a good idea. It just doesn't work. It's
right.
Something we have to revisit and fix. So,
right.
I'm fully willing to be practical. And I like working with everyone, but I do want to be honest about where we're at and why we're there.
One thing is something that I want to clarify, and that's the reality of electric prices. And we sell electricity, our company, in New York, in Ohio, in Michigan, in Illinois, and in other areas. And there is no doubt that it is dramatically more expensive in New York for the cost of electric supply relative to other states. And that in part is because of how we have made this push to renewables and all the costs associated with pushing to renewables. And so that is definitely very much a barrier right now that people are realizing. And there was a statistic that I read from AARP at NYSEG alone. There are 60,000 households that are over 60 days past due on their electric bills because of the cost. And look, NYSEG does need to be accountable, and you're right to call them out to not have this public hearing here in Western New York, which they ought to do. But the reality is electricity is that much more expensive, and we need to fix that. And the way we can fix that, like I've said earlier, is an all of the above approach to power generation. Natural gas should not be eliminated. It should be expanded. Let's recommission that 4.3 gigawatts that was decommissioned over the last 6 years of natural gas electric.
I guess that's probably at the core of this discussion is why we don't talk about this umbrella approach. It seems to me more sensible and more practical, but yet we don't ever hear about anything being considered with blending and with, I know that the governor mentioned nuclear being brought back online, but as you've mentioned, there's a generation that's been shut down that could serve us well.
Right, to the tune of 4.3 gigawatts of power generation from natural gas that has been decommissioned over the last 6 years. That's enough for 3.5 million homes, annual electric usage across New York State. Let's bring that back online. It only makes sense because we're short on power generation right now. How do we quickly get it back? Bring the natural gas back online.
We didn't give you a chance, Pat, to give us your sense of why the Public Service Commission turned their back on on Western New York for public hearings. But we'll let you comment on that after we check in with the bottom of the hour news break. We'll be back with more right after this.
Live, local, Buffalo, all day long. News Radio 930 WBEN.
My electric bill has doubled, if not tripled, in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Joyce
had to clarify that.
Stevens, he learned his fate on Friday.
Hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced to just over 4 years in federal prison for transporting people across state lines to engage in drug-fueled sexual encounters.
Fox's Chanley Payne prosecutors had wanted Sean Combs to spend more than 11 years behind bars. So moving a bit closer to a possible peace deal in the Middle East, Israel says it's getting ready to implement phase 1 of a President Trump 20-point plan for Hamas.
CM said they are giving approval of releasing all occupation prisoners, both living and remains, according to the exchange formula contained in President Trump's proposal.
Fox's Greg Palin on both sides is showing a willingness, they say, to immediately enter into negotiations. America's listening to Fox News.
It's
from the WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom. I'm Chris Giacobello. Here's what's happening. This morning at around 2:30, East Aurora police attempted to pull over a motorcycle on Oakwood Avenue, but the cyclist attempted to flee the officers. Police proceeded to pursue the motorcyclist until the driver collided with a curb on 9 Hill Road, ejecting both the driver and passenger of the motorcycle. The operator and passenger were given medical assistance at the scene before being transported to ECMC for non-life-threatening injuries. The operator was identified as 20-year-old Jose Vasquez and was charged with a DWI, reckless driving, and unlawfully fleeing a police officer. The Seneca Nation secured a legal victory yesterday in its ongoing land efforts with New York State and the New York State Thruway Authority. U.S. Magistrate Judge Michael Romer issued a report concluding that the state violated federal law and took Seneca Nation lands for the Thruway illegally. The outstanding invoices for vehicles traveling through Cattaraugus territory have totaled up to more than $4 million since 2008. The WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom is the news feed that never stops. Stay in the know and follow our updated XP for the latest by following at WBEN.
Broadcasting on News Radio 930 WBEN since 1989, this is Hammer Time Radio. Brought to you by Lakeshore Bank, putting people first since 1891.
Fall is here and the colors are everywhere. Bring that same beauty to your backyard with Lenco's Fiberon composite decking. Dominic Cortese here. Fiberon's vibrant colors and natural wood look make your outdoor space pop without the hassle of staining or sealing. Plus, it's durable, splinter-free, and built to handle Buffalo weather.
This guy is so out of touch. He literally signed legislation and gave millions to schools for electric bus infrastructure.
At Lenco.supply. Celebrate lasting fall. Fiberon decking from Lenco.
Transform every room in your home with Hurdle Home Consignment. New items arriving daily.
He literally signed legislation
Get
and gave
inspired by their
millions to
beautifully
schools
staged
for electric
showrooms
bus
on Hurdle
infrastructure.
Avenue in Buffalo and at Georgetown Plaza in Williamsville. Filled with affordable, fine furniture and unique home accents for bedrooms, living rooms, dining rooms, and more. See it, buy it, love it, and take it home today. Hurdle Home Consignment, because you've got to keep it decorated. Shop online at hurdlehomeconsignment.com.
Looking to bring the gym to your home? G&G Fitness Equipment has everything you need to build the ultimate home workout space. With premium treadmills and bikes, the top quality strength equipment and sauna, G&G offers top brands like Inspire, Elite Fitness, Matrix, Pro Fitness, and more. Plus, enjoy financing options with 0 down and 0% interest. Visit us at Williamsville and
Firefighters just let electric cars burn. They don't even bother wasting the water.
build your
Leading on this issue.
This is Dominic Cortese. Fall is on its way, and winter's not far behind. Make sure your home stays comfortable all season long with a $99 health and safety checkup from TRS Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an upgrade? Well, TRS can recommend a high-efficiency rain system to keep you cozy and warm with flexible financing to fit your budget. Nothing beats rain. Visit TRSHeatingandAirConditioning.com for details. TRS Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical Excellence. Powering tomorrow, comforting today.
Really?
Attention contractors, this is Dominic
Self-contained
Ortiz here to remind you that Herb Company is your trusted source for top quality contractor installed products. From tankless hot water heaters to energy efficient boilers and radiant heating systems, Herb has what you need to stay ahead of the curve. With building code changes coming next year, costs are likely to rise. So now is the time to lock in savings. Visit herbcompany.com or call one of our knowledgeable sales associates at 825-1400 today. Plan ahead and save with Herb Company, your partner in excellence. Hammer Time listeners, it's time to gorilla your basement. Right now, get 10% off our beautiful residence basement floor, 20% off custom cabinet and storage solutions, and a whopping 30% off truss core panels to get your basement holiday ready. Why is the Gorilla Floor the best in West New York? We're the only ones bold enough to guarantee protection against the #1 cause of floor failure, moisture. Every Gorilla Floor comes with a built-in vapor barrier at no extra cost. No shortcuts, no peeling, no failures, just Gorilla Strong protection. Visit GorillaGarageGear.com.
He didn't have full replacement.
Live, local, Buffalo. All day long. News Radio 930 WBEN.
11:36 is Hammer Time. Good morning. It's Dominic Ortiz. Lively discussion today. Phil Manula is on the live line from Essex Homes and New York State Builders Association. Pat Burke, New York State Assemblyman, on the live line. And in studio, Ed Rath, former state senator and now an energy consultant. He's always been an energy consultant. His main living has been energy consulting. And we're talking about electrification. Pat, before the news, I wanted to get your comments as to you voiced opposition that the Public Service Commission's not having any hearings about increased rates in Buffalo. Why did they do that?
They have not given me a clear answer yet. It pisses me off. Our residents and ratepayers are suffering currently. So the idea of doing another rate increase is, I think, pretty audacious. And to not have one in Western New York, I requested it be in West Seneca, and to not have that granted was really disappointing. But I have not gotten a clear answer on why. The closest hearing is 75 miles away from us. It's just unacceptable.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you weren't necessarily for electric buses. Have you not supported electric buses to school systems? Pat, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We keep dropping off there. I asked you about electric buses.
I know, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a good idea right now under the circumstances. I think it has to be pulled back. It's just impractical. Generally speaking, just broadly speaking, on electrification of vehicles, I accept that it's going to happen and it's popular. But I still question the environmental impact of that as well. So I think it's a little short-sighted. It's not as much of a solution as people think it is. There are other, modes of transportation and other solutions to come up with. But the electric buses is turning into a quagmire that really has to be reconsidered right now.
Well, what we should be doing is eliminating the mandates and allow the free market to decide.
There you go.
Particularly with electric cars. And let's also be very clear that the more we plug into the grid with electric buses and electric cars and all the rest, that's more of a strain on the grid.
I actually think
that can't handle it.
I actually think that you said something right now, Ed, that's revolutionary, and that is, why wouldn't we look at the electrification as a choice? If you want to build an electric house, knock yourself out. Go ahead and do it. I can ask Phil what he thinks the success would be of how many people are going to buy an electric house. What do you think, Phil?
Well, the only way I can answer that is we build what people want to buy. Is if it was less expensive to install and less expensive to run an electric system, or if somebody felt it was better for the environment, we would put it in. We're capable of putting it in. And we have no problem in designing a home. But we have a problem in the costs associated with it, and we have a problem with have a reliable source of energy. Right now by the utility providers that even in existing neighborhoods prior to this law going into effect in January, we're having trouble getting houses with 300 to 400 amps of service installed because the transformers are not sized correctly within the neighborhood.
I've heard that. Has anyone ever asked you yet, Phil, that they're concerned about their safety in a 100% electric house?
Oh, absolutely. The customer we're speaking to now, like I mentioned earlier segment, that we're full for the rest of the year on homes that we can get designed and implemented for building permit with gas. The people we're talking to today are all electric customers. They're not happy about it. And the first question they have out of their mouth is, I need to get a gas backup generator because I do not want to be subjected to long power outages and be worried about my home freezing. And the issue is even the gas company does not have the program from the Public Service Commission on how to install an exceptional, so to speak, gas generator starting January 1st. The entire program has not been published, and we're less than 3 months away. So I can't answer my customers. I can't explain them.
So you're saying that as of January 1, you won't know that whether you can put a gas generator in or not?
No, I'm not saying that. I do know that it's an exception. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what it's going to cost. I don't know if it's a line run directly to the
because of the 100-foot rule.
That's part of it.
Yeah. Okay. To Lindenville we go, and good morning, Don. You're on WBEN.
Yeah, good morning. I kind of want to touch on something you just brought up a couple minutes ago, is the grid. And you talk about our prices going up from NYSEG and National Grid, but if you look at a lot of that, it's because of what they're being required to do for the future, because the grid is not ready to handle everything that we're talking about here. And because of that, they have to upgrade it. And you talked about sharing the price of a 100-foot line for gas. That is nothing compared to what is going to have to be done to upgrade the grid to be able to handle the things that they are talking about. It's just not, it doesn't make sense in our area. Even like with electric cars. I know you're talking about, this isn't about electric cars, but electric cars, when they're driving in our winter, they die almost twice as fast as when it's in the summertime because of that. It's going to be such a strain on the grid. We're going to have to upgrade the grid, and it's going to cost thousands of millions of dollars.
And when you ask anybody from the utility companies, which I've had on the show, this very point that you bring up, they don't really have an answer as to what it's going to take to get the grid capable of supporting our needs.
Well, and the reliability of the grid is the great unknown right now.
Exactly.
Because we have massively expanding demand for electricity, and we have a grid that cannot meet that expanded demand. It's like I said earlier, the example of the basketball and the garden hose. That's where we're at right now. And this garden hose has to get very, very wide, very quickly to meet the demands. And as we force electrification in New York State, we don't have a distribution system to meet those needs. So you are absolutely spot on with regards to the challenges that the grid is facing. Let's slow down. Let's eliminate or at least suspend these regulations and these policy goals and make it reasonable in New York State.
Pat, a texter is asking me to ask you what your solution would be in a power outage. You mentioned a gasoline generator as being what you suggested that we have, correct?
I can tell you the things that I do, because I live in the South Towns, where we deal with most severe parts of winter weather in Western New York. A lot of the north towns. Whenever you see those pictures of the wall of snow,
yes,
I'm in the wall.
Okay.
So trust me, I understand it. I experience it. It sucks. So, like I said, I have a gas generator, but usually, realistically, what this is, and Buffalo is a great community, so maybe we're unique in this, is you hunker down. Usually, generally, people are prepared for storms. You use a lot of blankets, you stay warm, you get through it. Like, the old Jimmy six-pack, grab a six-pack and stay inside and just hunker down and ride out storms. I think it's something.
Yeah, but
really good
you can't deny, though, Pat, that we did lose people in the blizzard, and a lot of them were caught outside. Some were caught in structures that had electric heat.
We're not going to blame electricity for bad government planning. Like, that was a failure on our government. 50 people died. It was tragic. It was awful.
Well,
that was not some electrification issue. It was poor planning and a terrible storm.
You can't deny, though, that there were structures. And in fact, I was on the air live when this was occurring. An electric apartment building, no electricity, and everyone in that building was freezing.
And there are many apartment buildings that were built in the 70s, but there are many apartment buildings that were built in the 70s that are all electric. That's what they were using back to build those large structures.
Yep.
How many of those people died in that all electric building?
That's a good question as far as the makeup of those that did die, where they were, whether they were caught outside or whether they were caught in a structure. I don't know. But the truth is, exactly.
If you're talking 5 days, your house won't take very long to get below freezing.
And this will again go back to how many people in our community actually have gas or like natural gas installed generators. So are we just talking about? We're talking about two different problems. Are you talking about everyone should have access to a gas generator? Which then we're talking about real.
Well, we're talking about the option. Which we're talking about the option.
Not an option for most people.
Well,
you know why I have a gas one I roll? I don't have the money to put in
but you have the option to install one, and that's going to be taken away from us as of January 1. In new builds is what I'm talking about. Yeah. Right. Let's go to Williamsville and say hello to Tracy. Good morning, Tracy. You're on WBEN.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call and thank you for listening. On the topic of, heating your home when you have no electricity in our Buffalo winters, I have two in my home, 2,000 square foot home. It's a gas wall heater. Runs straight off my natural gas line, no generator needed, no electricity needed. That will provide enough heat to save all of my pipes and save the people in my house from freezing to death. So everything else, Mr. Berg, and even the rest of you are talking about is wrong. Can't be false. Natural gas saves lives, and we are being told by the Democratic government and a few lives and a few new builds that's the cost of saving the environment. That is the message.
Well, let's have Pat.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Personally offensive.
Then why are you taking away the choice? I just told you how my gas line.
Go ahead. Let Pat talk.
What you're saying is, well, it's just the new build who won't be able to save their life in that way.
That's not true.
Go ahead, Pat.
No, it's an extreme argument to say Democrats don't care about saving people's lives. At some point, we're always the soft party who's the nurse mother party who cares about everything, but then we just don't care about people's lives. It's just offensive, and I don't appreciate it. Like what we're actually talking about, and again, I started this conversation by saying I actually don't agree with all these policies, and we should revisit them.
Right.
So, let me start there.
Okay.
Do our
I appreciate that.
problems, and then if the problems aren't solved, we have to address it. I'm here having this conversation. But a lot of people probably don't agree with me or generally don't agree with me on most.
Pat, you're here debating it, which I admire you for, because frankly, as I mentioned already, no one else from the majority party was willing to come on to talk about this. So it's to your credit.
I also appreciate you coming on today, and I'd love to invite you to come and speak to our industry and our board of directors, because I think there's a number of issues that we can discuss that are just from an informational standpoint to try to clear it up. But I have never said, and I don't condone that Democrats want to harm people, but there are legitimate concerns that we need to address. We're talking about the implementation of something that was honestly not thought through.
That's exactly right.
It just wasn't thought through.
I agree that New York likes to, we like to say we're leading the way, and sometimes you don't necessarily have to be the first. You don't have
well, and also to agree with that point, and I said this when I was in the Senate, and Pat, you maybe heard me say this in the past, Albany is a land of unintended consequences. In many ways, the implications or the consequences of the policy are not thought through. If it's timelines, if it's public safety threat, if it's affordability issues, whatever it may be, they want to check off the important box and then they just move on. Well, wait a second, slow down. Let's move back and fix it, and not just move on without it, understanding and fixing the broken consequences.
11:49 is Hammer Time. We're back with more right after this.
Wondering where to shop for home improvements? Well, you've come to the right place. Our
Please
sponsors
ask
have
Pat Burke
proudly earned
when
the
he's
Hammer
going to
Time seal of
complete the
approval
electric
by operating with honesty and integrity. So remember, to buy right the first time, buy from a Hammer Time partner.
That smell when your furnace kicks on, it's not just dust. It's bacteria, mold, dead skin cells, and more, all baked into your air duct system after a long summer. And that's just what burns off. If your ducts haven't been cleaned in the last 3 to 6 years, you're breathing in contamination every day. Call Indoor Air Professionals, 716-683-3000, extension 303. The most thorough duct cleaning and sanitizing before you're sealed indoors for the season.
Lakeshore Bank believes in community banking with exceptional customer service and local expertise. Lakeshore Bank is here to help you with all your financial needs. From home financing to small business banking, Lakeshore Bank gives you access to state-of-the-art online banking tools and the attention, flexibility, and responsiveness you deserve. Visit one of Lakeshore Bank's 10 Western New York branches. Call 716-366-4070 or visit mylsbank.com today.
Dominic Ortiz here. Fall's around the corner and the perfect time to get your home ready for winter. USA Insulation's premium foam seals every gap, keeping warm air in and the Buffalo chill out. Keep your home cozy and your heating bills stay lower. New York homeowners may qualify for up to 80% off insulation costs with state and federal incentives. USA Insulation even offers spray foam for homes and businesses. Call 716-431-4500 or USAinsulation.com.
USA Insulation.
Hey, Tom, Dominic sent you. Hi, it's Dominic Ortiz. Whenever someone asks me, who do you call for roof repair or replacement, I say call Ava Roofing and Siding. They install over 1.5 million square feet of shingles and siding annually across Western New York. When you call Ava, you get superior service, including expert foreman on every job. Get an on-the-spot free written estimate and project drawing for your roof replacement or repair by calling 343-ROOF or go to avaroofing.com. Ava also offers 0% financing. When quality matters, call Ava Roofing. Fall is here and the colors are everywhere. Bring that same beauty to your backyard with Lenco's Fiberon composite decking. Dominic Ortiz here. Fiberon's vibrant colors and natural wood look make your outdoor space pop without the hassle of staining or sealing. Plus, it's durable, splinter-free, and built to handle Buffalo weather year after year. Shop wholesale prices with free delivery on orders over $500 when you order online at Lenco.supply. Celebrate lasting fall. Fiberon decking from Lenco.
Stay tuned right after Hammer Time for Senior Radio Buffalo, hosted by Linda Pellegrino. Senior Radio is dedicated to informing and educating baby boomers and active seniors all over Western New York. Coming up at noon.
11:52 is Hammer Time. Good morning from Dominic Ortiz. Pat Burke, New York State Assemblyman. Thanks for being here with us to have this debate. And a question for you, Pat, as you go back to Albany with what you've learned from our audience here today, what exactly do you think you might do to help affect some change?
Well, I think one thing we didn't really talk about, which I'm sure is at the heart of most of your listeners and consumers, or at the center of what they're thinking about, is the cost, right? It's out of control. I personally, in my family household, we're paying, $400 to $700 a month in our electric bill. It's not sustainable for most working families.
That's true.
And I started the last year. I started, it was you could see the writing on the wall that this was going to happen. And so I started looking around and seeing what other people were paying. I'm like, is it just Western New York? We've got this hydropower plant. We should be paying the cheapest power. And then I look at places like Springville and Akron and other small, publicly owned, like township-owned power companies. And these are in Republican areas. And they're paying 4-5 cents a kilowatt hour, while the rest of us are paying 24 to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. So, we have a bunch of things to talk about. And one thing that really needs to be talked about, though, is why have we set up a structure where we have private monopolies that are charging us exorbitant amounts of money and want to charge us more? So we've got a real problem, and it's something that I want to talk about and address in Albany. One of the things I get pushback on is, well, you could go to public power, but your municipality would have to acquire all of these assets. And then I say, well, wait a minute. The ratepayers are the ones actually paying for those assets. They're the ones contributing to the build-out. It's not private investors doing the build-out. It's ratepayers. So we're almost getting double and triple whammy on our utility bills for a private monopoly.
And then couple in, Pat, the fact that as of January 1, a new house has to be 100% electric. You've got the compounded utility cost added to the compounded cost of construction, you're talking about affordability. This is certainly going to impact affordability.
I think obviously in this country we have a problem that it is inherently unfair for working class people. Like, we need an actual fair deal for working people again. Whereas we always bear the cost of everything. Somehow, someone always makes profit off of it. But me and you, and we got to figure out how we're going to cut coupons and pay bills and all this other stuff, while someone else is getting incredibly rich off of it.
Well, also understand this about the affordability side of it. The energy supply is between 60 to 70% of your billing, if it's natural gas or electric. That's energy supply. And right now in New York State, just to reiterate this, we're 150% higher than the national average on electric cost. That can be fixed. Well, that's because those are munis. Those are munis, Pat. That's a big difference. That's a small little footprint in Springville and in Akron, where they have small infrastructure, they have small overhead, and that's a different scenario based on
those
the infrastructure
those
that they have.
businesses benefit from that.
100%. Like Ford Gum and Perry's Ice Cream and all the rest, they are absolutely doing great with their electric costs because they don't have the mandates or the responsibilities that New York State is placing on them.
Let's go to Orchard Park and chat with Tim. Good morning, Tim. You're on WEN.
Yeah, in reference to Mr. Burke's get a six-pack and hunker down. I find that despicable. In this day and age, that's the best we can do. Hunker down, use more blanket.
50 people died in the storm because there wasn't enough advisement on hunkering down and being prepared for storms. What I'm saying is be prepared.
Yeah, well, that's certainly sensible, but I think the comment really relates more to the idea that we won't have natural gas as of January 1 in new construction, which is something we can rely on where you can't rely on the grid.
I would again remind people that their furnaces by and large are connected to electric. So if your electricity goes out, your furnaces won't work, and most people already don't have natural gas generators.
Well,
it's also important to remind everyone that we can't eliminate natural gas as a power generating supply source in New York State. That's the long-term plan. We absolutely shouldn't, because that's over like 30% of all power generation is natural gas right now. And it has to stay that way. Bring back those decommissioned power plants as well. That will help to bring reliability back to New York State.
Let's go to Alma and say good morning to Kurt. Good morning, Kurt. You're next.
Hi, I just have one comment regarding the natural gas. It's not just stoves. I have fireplaces in my house that work great without electricity.
Mm-hmm.
It will keep people alive.
Phil, what happens to wood burning as of January 1?
I believe it's still able to be installed, but it's really not been the desire of most people. And I do agree with this caller's comment. Natural gas fireplaces can run in a power plant. They battery backup batteries too.
Right. Right.
And they don't need boilers. They'll provide heat and keep people alive.
I guess a question, Phil, for you is: do you think you're going to be, when you build a new house as of January 1, you think you're going to get people asking to put wood-burning fireplaces back in?
Most likely, yes.
So what this is the theme of the last couple of minutes, and all of the above approach to energy and energy supply. Choices and all of the above. Don't eliminate anything. Don't restrict anything. Let's use everything we possibly can.
We shouldn't end the show without mentioning that Congressman Nick Langworthy is proposing federal legislation to have us have energy choice. And he does have bipartisan support from what he's told me. He's now hoping to get the Senate on board and then plop this onto President Trump's desk. We'll certainly keep everybody apprised on that. And I want to remind everybody that Monday is the deadline for you to voice your opinion. Ed, why don't you give us the information again on how the public can do that?
Sure. It's the New York State Energy Planning Board. And what they have in front of them right now is a draft New York State Energy Plan. So if you go onto the website for the New York State Energy Planning Board and voice your concerns, speak out. Let it be known what the challenges are here at upstate. It's not being heard nearly enough right now. This is one of our last possible chances for the next 15 years in the plan they're going to draw up.
Well, I want to thank you, Ed, for spending the time with us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Phil Nanula, thank you for calling in. And certainly thank you, Pat Burke, for participating in the discussion. Have a great week, everybody. We'll look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Same time, same place. Go Bills. And always remember, life may be hard by the yard, but by the inch, it's a cinch. Bye, everybody.
WBEN Buffalo, WKSE HD3 Niagara Falls.
That was fun.